If you're beginning to suspect that I only own 4 shirts, like and subscribe. I'm Eric Lloyd with Oregon Risk Management Solutions, and this is episode 9 of What Not to Do. We're going to watch some safety fails. We're going to watch some workplace mishaps. We're going to talk about what we could do different, what we could learn, how that might apply to us, what would OSHA say about it. We're going to hopefully have some laughs along the way. All right, we got this one, a guide mast getting decommissioned. Oh, this is going to be exciting. It's going to cut that thing loose and it goes flying. Whoa, and the whole tower comes down. In a shockingly controlled manner. That was actually kind of cool. Holy cow. Wow, okay. Obviously, we're dealing with a lot of stored energy there, right? As soon as we cut that thing loose, we saw the anchor go flying out of there. It makes me nervous having those guys as close as they were, right? In a perfect world, I'd love to see a way that we could maybe try and do that remotely somehow, or at least create a little bit of standoff distance. Maybe we could protect ourselves from it a little bit. But I mean, in all, that was a relatively controlled manner that it came down. That's pretty crazy how it just like collapsed in one spot. You halfway wonder if they had like staged that somehow going up it to direct where it was going to fall. Pretty neat how they did it, but again, anytime we're releasing stored energy like that, I would definitely like to see as much standoff as we can. No extra people around, those things. I guess I'll give them credit that they managed to resist the urge to like launch anything with the cables when they were releasing it. So that was a good one. That was cool. Okay, we've got our second clip, late to work. Oh my God. So we're riding on the back of the semi-truck, and it somehow makes that so much better that he is wearing a suit and like tennis shoes. That's impressive. I like it. Again, I'm thinking you're just continuing to find like closet superheroes here that we don't know about yet. Late to work. Okay. I would hope that most of us are not commuting to work on the back of a semi-truck like that, but I'll tell you that we definitely see people that maybe hitch a ride on something where it is not intended for it, standing on, the side steps of a tractor or a forklift, or hanging on to the railings of something just because they don't want to have to walk, they're tired, there's no room, they're in a hurry, maybe they're short on vehicles to transport people. We're not going very far, we're not going very fast. These are all easy excuses we tell ourselves until something goes wrong. When we do our tractor training or our forklift certifications that we offer, and a lot of times with pieces of equipment like that, we say, hey, there's one seat, so how many people are riding on it? One person, right? If you ask really nicely, maybe he could hitchhike and ride in the cab up front where there's an extra seat. But that's a good one too. Okay, we've got clip number 3. It says, what health and safety? We're just clinging on with our legs for dear life here. Good, no fall protection. What health and safety? No PPE. He's got his rain pants on at least. We crank that one on there and just shimmy up to the next. They are a long ways up in the air. That's insane. Got that one tight, so we just go on to the next one. It's definitely not the first time he's done this. He's got his leg just wrapped in place, holding on tight. Here's your resupply coming in with the crane. How long can you do that of just like defying the odds before it eventually catches up to you? The answer is not forever. You definitely can't do this forever. This is one of those jobs where there's no old guys doing it because you don't live long enough to be old doing it like this. And there's the obligatory look down. Man. Everybody's unfazed. But everybody's also like in their 20s. Yeah. Okay, good one. Again, we look at this and we say, that's probably in a different country. There probably isn't OSHA. There probably isn't all these rules. We would never do that here, right? Yeah, no way, except we do. I remember I was out at a construction site a few years ago. I was watching a roofer working on this super steep pitch roof, and he was doing just that. He didn't want to take the time to tie off, and so he was like taking the rope, the lanyard from his fall protection, and would wrap it around his leg and was just like leaning back against his leg like that. We definitely do see people doing that. And again, that's one of those things you can only do for so long before it catches up to you. You can only defy the odds for so long, right? We'd definitely like to see people in a full-on, harness wrapped around their waist and their shoulders with the shock absorber connection in it, a good lanyard or a fall arrestor so that if they do start to go, it'll absorb that. They can hang safely until we can get them down. Of course, anchored to something that isn't going to break loose when they do need to use that in a big way as well. Again, I think we've said in previous episodes maybe that, there was a time in our society where we just budgeted in. People were going to get hurt. People were going to die. There was an expected number of deaths associated with building the Hoover Dam. It was literally put into the budget. That's not the world we live in anymore. It's not what we want to see. We don't want to see our people being treated as expendable like that. That's crazy. All right, we've got one more clip for episode 9. Hope it doesn't get windy. What on earth? So I'm thinking we're using a crane to lift up little mini excavator in a big cargo box that's like 15 stories up in the air. And then we just knock all that loose and let it drop down below and hope nobody's down there, huh? Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Okay, what not to do? Yeah, let's definitely hope it doesn't get windy. That makes me so nervous seeing big cargo like that up in the air, because if it did start to get windy, obviously that's going to go swinging around. Thinking about safety of the person up in the air like that, we really don't ever want to be picking people up with cranes. Cranes should be for moving cargo, and other than very specialty circumstances with some really above and beyond safety precautions in place, we would never use a crane of any sort to pick people up in the air, even if they're in a piece of machinery like that. That's probably engineered to have a structure to the cab of it, like rollover protection built into it. And usually that rollover protection is engineered to be way more stout than we would expect to need under a normal use situation. I mean, literally to test those, they're picked up by a crane and dropped on its head, but that might be from a few feet. That might be 6 feet or 10 feet, something like that. There's no way that any of the structural engineering there is going to be able to protect that person if we had a fall from 15 stories up in the air, obviously. So we don't ever want to pick people up with a crane like that. But gosh, that piece at the end really makes me think about safety for everybody down below as well. Obviously there's times that we're going to be doing high elevation excavation type stuff, demolition, things might drop, but man, we got to make sure we've got the area below it secured, fenced off, taped off, maybe a spotter in the vicinity to make sure nobody's going to go wandering into there, not realizing what's going on. And that piece you can see flying off shows that we really need to be thinking about not just straight down below being secured, but for a large perimeter, because cargo dropping like that can go a long ways. I'd say it'd be a much better practice if we were able to push those things into the building or somehow try and get it collected into like a garbage chute where we can funnel it to a particular spot if we do need to drop wreckage like that from high up in the air. That's an early one. But hey, at least the operator has got his high-vis sweatshirt on so everyone can see him as he falls to his death, right? All right, I think we have a research project for our viewers. We want to know what the average life expectancy is for construction workers in a third world country. Again, how long can you do these crazy things and defy the odds? I don't think it's going to be very long. All right, guys, that's it for episode 9 of What Not to Do. We hope you're continuing to enjoy these. We hope you're continuing to watch them, share them, make sure that you like and subscribe to our channel so you get notifications when new videos come out. Our next episode is going to be a major milestone. That's going to be episode 10. We want it to be a good one. So we'd love some submissions from you guys. Shoot us over some ideas. Shoot us over some clips. We want it to be special. So let's make episode 10 great. Send us some input for what you'd like to see. Check out OregonRMS.com for everything that we offer as far as our services and equipment that we sell, our fire extinguishers, our first aid supplies, all that. Thank you for continuing to watch. Thank you for continuing to support us. We love doing this. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time.